one of the things that I frequently get asked a lot, and the confusion persists in it, has to do with the difference between Botox and fillers. And so I'd like to just spend a couple of minutes on fillers themselves. Botox, as we've had a conversation in the past, Botox these days is almost reflective of the entire constellation of products that provide weakness or provide calming of muscle tone regardless of where it's injected. So the original kid on the block was Botox, and because of its dominance in the early years, most of these products are sort of generally referred to as Botox. Now that's not obviously correct. They're now in Canada, we have Botox, Dysport, Xeomin, Nucivia. There are several other products, and the same thing has happened to the filler market, because as people develop new and better and highly, focused and targeted applications, the number of fillers on the market has increased. And the metaphor I like to use is that if in 1910 you wanted to buy a car, you had to buy a Ford. That's all there was. And now, of course, there are multiple different brands and models that you can choose from. So I use Dysport. I think it has some advantages over Botox, but they're relatively minor, and there's no there's no super big advantage to going one way or the other. I'd like to just go over some of the fillers, in particular the ones that I use. I use the Revan-S line, which is produced by Prelenium Technologies, which is a Canadian company. Prelenium has been around for quite some time, and it's the only filler that's manufactured in North America. It is highly consistent, high value, and it has performed exceptionally well over the years. So I'd just like to go over them. All of the products originally, people sometimes in terms of brand recognition recognize Juvederm, Restylane, but all of the products now basically have a distribution through the various applications. So when you're using a filler in the face, what are the most common areas? If you look at the generalized trend that happens as we age, there are some real consistencies that go on. Probably the most obvious have to do with the loss of volume in the midface. So we tend to lose our cheeks, there's a flattening in the midface. It provides and looks like you have larger bags under the eyes because you start to develop a shadowing under the eyes. You get an increased skin laxity, and everything basically, as we know, tends to head south. And so you get this drawn effect. It increases the jowling in the lower face, loss of volume around the mouth, the lips, and the ultimate formation of nasolabial lines, marionette lines that most people can identify with. So the goal in fillers is, as the name suggests, fillers are designed and are intended to replace volume that you've lost. Now, sometimes people want fillers for volume they never had before, and probably the best example of this is have to do with lips. So some women like to have bigger lips, and they never had big lips, so adding some volume to them can be really beneficial. And for that product, or for that application, for example, Prelenium makes a designer application that is clearly designed for lips. But in addition to that, it's not a one size fits all. So for example, if you need mid-face volume, you need something that's a little bit more robust than you would want in your lips. So clearly what you use in your lips is not the same that you'd use in your cheeks, is not the same that you'd use under your eyes, or it's not the same that you'd use along your jawline. And for all of those applications, there's a slightly different product. As the name suggests, contour, it gives you a little bit more lift and is a good application for mid-face, for example. Ultra is one of their finer products that you can use in areas where you might actually notice if there was too much of a lift, and you obviously don't want to see the product once it's applied. And finally, there's still a couple more, but just again to give you an idea of the breadth of these things, there's a product called Shape, which is used around and along the jawline to form something that's quite relatively rigid, certainly as compared to lips, for example. I do as much of this as I can with cannula, which is a safer way to use fillers, and overall the effects are impressive, and they're immediate, and it's one of the reasons that I love doing it, because there is a dramatic change often between when a client comes in and when they leave, and it's very rewarding, and it's very refreshing to see. And I guess the bottom line is that, when I treat the uninitiated, I would say that virtually everyone thinks that the procedure is going to be more painful than it actually is. It looks a bit ominous when you see it done, and if you watch YouTube videos, you'd think for sure that this is going to hurt like crazy, but in reality it really doesn't, and the effects are immediate, and the effects last for months, and sometimes up to as long as 18 to 24 months when you use one of the more robust fillers. So in general, I think it's the kind of thing that most people understandably have some reticence and angst about before they have it done, but I think virtually everyone, once they've had it done, recognizes that it's a relatively straightforward procedure, and one that doesn't hurt, provides immediate and lasting benefit.